I'm gonna be honest, I don't even really feel like making this video, but there's some paths in life you just can't turn back on, and unfortunately the Sonic path is one of those. I realize it is the middle of March, so it's absolutely ridiculous to be uploading this now, but I don't care. I need to talk about Sonic Origins Plus.
Chef Pee-Pee's in the kitchen, I'm the king of cooking things. Yeah. Got macaroni, piece of cookies, and some ice cream. Yeah.
That's right, no elaboration. We're getting straight into the first topic. It's Sonic's Origins, again! And I will refrain from making a joke about Queen Elena giving birth. That was highly inappropriate of me last year. So if you're stupid and didn't watch my video last year, Sonic Origins was a remaster compilation of the original classic Sonic games with all fancy new additions. You know, widescreen support, animated cutscenes, extra game modes, and some bonus collectibles. What should have been a simple project ended up littered with bugs, some weird inconsistencies like Knuckles not being playable in Sonic CD, even though that game's about exploration. His climbing is... that would have been perfect. Wouldn't it be cute if we released the game on Sonic's birthday?
No! Fuck you!
So yeah, similar to Sonic Mania Plus, Sonic Origins Plus was an expansion to Origins. But unlike Sonic Mania, which feels like a finished product, Sonic Origins Plus adds things that just feel like they should have been in the game to begin with. It's also worth mentioning that the DLC did come with a free patch that fixed some of the minor things like Knuckles and Sonic CD and various bug fixes. But as for what you're actually paying for, you get Game Gear ROMs. That's it. No widescreen, no new features. They're just emulated Game Gear titles. You see, there is a part of me that is kind of disappointed by this because, well, that's as lazy as you get, but also, do we really want to play Sonic Blast in widescreen? To me, and I think pretty much everyone else, the real selling point of the DLC has been Amy, a character who was in all of the marketing, in all of the animated cutscenes, and is on the box. But no, she wasn't playable till now, and she fucking sucks. It's not that she's unfun, she plays close enough to Sonic to where you're pretty much still playing the same game, but that's the problem. She just plays like Sonic. To go into more detail, when she jumps, she does this hammer spin attack that increases the hitbox. I guess it's kind of like an amped up version of the insta-shield from Sonic 3. And then if you hold this skill, when she hits the ground, she does what's basically just a worse drop dash. I mean, the animation's neat, I guess. Look, I'm not one of those people who is clamoring for a Sonic Advance type playstyle because I don't think the classic games were built around that, but come on, you could have given her something, like what about just a bounce? I don't know. This stings even more when you realize this DLC was $10! And before you call me a broke-ass bitch, Sonic Mania Plus was only $5 and came with 2 characters, with vastly superior movesets and the additional Encore mode. I guess the additional $5 comes from the Game Gear games, but again, you have to pay me $5 to play half of these. They could have at least, like, included Sonic Spinball or, like, 3D Blast. Or my GOAT Sonic R! Let's keep the ball rolling, get it? 'Cause he's Sonic? With the new classic Sonic game, Sonic Superstars. I'll admit, when I first saw this game, I was fucking terrified. I mean, that's 3D classic Sonic. He's the guy from Forces. But it was quickly revealed the game would be using physics from Whitehead's retro engine, which quickly eased a lot of my fears, cause that basically solidified it'd be playing exactly like the classic games. Sure, they had Sonic Team working on it instead of the Sonic Mania team, but, you know, Frontiers was fine, and as long as they're using a good physics engine, then they can't really fuck this up. That's alright. Let's elaborate on what I like about Sonic Superstars. As I had hoped, the physics were pretty much on par with the Genesis games. Some of the songs are good. I thought the beginning animation was neat. Giving each Chaos Emerald a unique ability was like one of my childhood ideas come true. And they even brought back my GOAT Fang the Sniper. So when I first bought Sonic Superstars, I was really enjoying my time going through the first couple of stages, and then something happened. The boss fights happened. I just got so angry thinking about the Sonic Superstars boss fights that I just had to go make some ramen noodles. I hate these guys! I wanted Fang the Sniper back, but after this boss that takes like fucking an hour long with this horrible sound mixing, I don't want to see that guy again. Get him out of here. You see, I actually have fun playing the levels themselves. They're fine. But the bosses prevent me from ever wanting to touch this game again, because in order to compensate for co-op and emerald abilities, Sega had this genius idea to make every boss just take 10 years to beat. And like, I get it, you don't want 4 characters to just be hitting the boss non-stop, or like someone to spam emerald abilities and just cheese the entire thing. But I don't care, dude. Let me just cheese it. You do not realize how unfun it is to just get one hit, and then you have to go through years of invincibility frames and animations over and over and over and over and over. And remember how I said some of the tracks are good? Well, yeah, because the other half are complete doggy doo-doo. Why did you bring my boy back just to spit on him like this? Oh yeah, they also added a new character called Trip. She's cool. She's basically the Spike Wisp from Sonic Colors. Also, she turns into a dragon. Sonic Frontiers has been a game that I've been pissing, shitting, and spitting on for months now. But like, in reality, it's not even that bad. To give a quick recap, I think Sonic Frontiers is a game that's brimming with potential, but it didn't quite have the time or resources to fulfill such potential. I appreciate how they go for a more mature story, even though I didn't particularly find it interesting. It helped clean up a lot of the lore and characterization, and while the gameplay is jank, I do appreciate them for trying to do something more open-ended and unique. Even though I'm just a whiny YouTuber, majority of people genuinely do like Frontiers, and it's sold exceptionally well for a Sonic game. So much so that they went ahead and made 3 free updates that were just jam-packed with content. Starting with Update 1, one of the features added was a photo mode. That's not really my thing, but it's pretty much obligatory in every video game these days. There's a jukebox, which allows you to collect and play various Sonic tracks as you explore the environment. It's a cool idea, but the track list is a little too limited for my liking, so I'd rather just use Spotify instead. The biggest feature of this update, though, was the newly added challenge mode. The first one's just a simple time trial for Cyberspace stages, and the second is a Battlerush mode. While I do appreciate the additions, the Battlerush mode in specific sort of highlights how dull this game's combat really is. It's not something like Devil May Cry where you could freely chain together attacks to make a crazy combo. You sorta just pick which special move animation you wanna see and just watch him do it. And I get it's not fair to compare a hack and slash game to a cartoony platformer made for babies, but I don't know, if you're gonna include a whole mode that centers around the combat, I'd kinda hope that the combat's a little more interesting than this. I mean, even Kirby games got more interesting combat, and those are also baby platformers. Moving on to Update 2, this update's main focus was the birthday mode, which was made to celebrate Sonic's birthday, who would have guessed. This birthday mode doesn't really amount to anything beyond changing the assets to birthday-themed ones and giving Sonic a silly little hat. I mean, I suppose it's a nice way to visually spice up the game, but they have this fucking annoying filter you just can't turn off, so it makes me never want to touch this mode ever. Oh yeah, they also added New Game Plus, which should be in every game ever at launch, isn't that right? There was also some new Coco challenges. Cool. The standout feature for me, however, was the addition of the Spindash. At first I was baffled why they'd add the Spindash to a game that already has the boost, but holy shit, the Spindash is insane in this game. They completely reworked the game's physics system and added actual momentum. It's beautiful. It's like the adventure games. You could do crazy Spindash jumps. This is what I wanted out of an open world Sonic game this whole time. Unfortunately, the level design still doesn't really compensate for it, so there's not many opportunities you could actually do crazy Spindash jumps, but I'm glad it's there. Now on to Update 3, which might as well be considered a whole new game. I mean, this shit's got more content than Forces. Not only is there a whole new island with a barrage of cyberspace stages that are actually really fun, they actually take advantage of the new physics. But now you could also play as Amy, Knuckles, and Tails in a 3D Sonic game? This is the first time you could do that since Sonic 06.
Sonic 06 is the best thing ever. It is better than all Sonic games.
And best of all, this is all free. Like, Sonic Origins couldn't do that. This DLC's hard. I know it's a skill issue, but like, Sega, they heard people complaining about the difficulty, so they just kicked you in the balls, murdered your firstborn, and told you to fight all 3 Titans in one go in an 8-frame parry against enemies who clearly were not designed with precise parrying in mind. Go ahead, call it a skill issue in the comments, but I am simply a local hero. I am looking out for the children. How are the children supposed to do the Master Coco trial? To continue my whining, why can the alternate playable characters just not fight?
Hello, it is me, Yuji Naka, and I would like to say that Starlight has taken so long making this video that the complaints about Knuckles' delayed gliding and the character sucking in combat has been patched. Therefore, this whole segment is irrelevant, much like Square Enix. However, it is still rather silly that Knuckles' punch was locked behind a skill tree. You know what else is silly? Square Enix. Anyways guys, I must get back to prison. You know why? Because Square Enix.
Amy is actually pretty damn fun, arguably even more fun than Sonic, oh my god. She fights using her tarot cards. That's bound to start some Sonic fan discourse. And then you got Tails, who's always been baby mode, but this game he's the fucking boss baby now. So in Sonic Frontiers, when you get max ring count, you get this like supercharged boost, and in Tails' case, his supercharged boost is he just flies around in a fucking plane. And best of all, if you use a Psy loop and draw an infinite sign, you get infinite boost, so Tails can just infinitely fly around the map. I did not do a single platforming challenge playing as him, I just flew over everything and I don't feel guilty about it.
Hi guys, I am Big Light. I am Starlight but big, that's why they call me Big Light, and my smaller self appears to have forgotten a Knuckles segment. As for Knuckles, aside from his messed up gliding at release, he plays fine. A-okay.
As for the new ending, instead of it just being a series of QTEs and Toho, they gave us a new boss who I had to use a walkthrough for because they don't explain shit. And you fight this boss as Super Sonic 2. That's not nearly as cool as it sounds, it's just Super Sonic with blue eyes. I like his parry animation though, that's pretty badass. And to further solidify how lame Super Sonic 2 is, at the end of the boss, Sonic absorbs the cyber energy or whatever, and he becomes this awesome blue Cyber Sonic with Getter Robo eyes. But you just can't play as him, he's only in a cutscene, why would they do that? Overall, I feel conflicted on this DLC. One half of it just had me running up the wall because I'm bad, and also the landscapes, that's just the first island again. Also, what is with these lo-fi beats for the soundtrack? I mean, they're not bad, but they play the entire time on this endless loop. It gets a little tedious. Again, I'm not gonna be too mean to this content because it's free, and also it just kind of instilled some hope for the next game. While the execution was pretty janky, the fact that they added stuff like momentum, they changed the entire ending, they added multiple playable characters, it shows that they truly do care about what the fans want. I mean, a little too much maybe. I think I could tag Kishimoto on Twitter with a Google Doc on why Sleuth Doggy Dog should come back, and he'd be doggying all over the place in Frontiers too. Overall, good job, Sonic team. You listened to us, you made a decent game. do better next time and maybe you won't lose to Genshin Impact.
You've ruined the Sonic series! The Sonic series is dead because of a Sonic fanbase! I will forever hate the Sonic fanbase! They ruined everything!
It was Espio. Espio murdered Sonic the Hedgehog. This was just some little visual novel they made for April Fools. And as far as corporate April Fools stuff goes, this is probably the only time it's worth talking about. The Sonic social media team managed to gather a pretty talented group of artists and put together this little visual novel. The plot is basically that the cast goes on a fake murder mystery train for Amy's birthday, and you have to figure out who in the crew murdered Sonic. It's pretty simple, but the characters and their interactions make it worth going through for any fan of the series. It's just a fun time with some characters I sometimes like. I like how it manages to be funny in a different way than how a lot of recent Sonic stuff tries to be funny, where it's mostly about you finding the characters' interactions entertaining rather than quippy one-liners and the such. And honestly, I just like that a lot more with this franchise. I'd love to see a lot more small, inconsequential games about just the Sonic characters hanging out like normal. We don't really see a lot of that outside of the comics when they aren't doing major arcs, and honestly, I just think it's something we should see more of because this was really fun. Sonic's social media as of recent has been catching a lot of flack for seemingly still being with the whole self-deprecating meta meme fucking kind of sense of humor. It initially got really popular for doing this, but these days the fans are just kind of tired of it, and they wish that the social media would treat the franchise with more respect instead of still seemingly trying to do what they have always done. But every once in a while the social media team comes through with something cool, and I think this is a pretty good example of that.
Guys, I don't think Sonic is in his prime anymore. Last year, I made a severe and continuous lapse in judgment by saying Sonic Prime wasn't that bad. I don't know what came over me. I was very foolish. I was blinded. I saw some promise. I mean, it was just a kid's action cartoon, but with Sonic, that was like a childhood dream of mine. I didn't love the show, but I had some hope. Those early episodes, yeah, they were repetitive, but maybe the series just had a slow start and it'd pick up in season 2. I mean, Shadow was the best part of the show, and they did promise more Shadow in season 2. So even if it wasn't great, it'd at least be better. We didn't get much more Shadow in season 2. I mean, when I saw the trailers and the opening scenes, I thought this was gonna be a wacky buddy road trip movie through the multiverse with Sonic and Shadow. I mean, yeah, this version of Sonic is fucking obnoxious, but Shadow could help balance him out. Maybe there's some fun to be had. Then Shadow, like, episode 1 was like, I'll stay behind. You go to the pirate world. And it just became pure and utter boredom. Nothing happened in this entire I can't recall anything that happened. All I remember was watching the clock, and I know Nine, who's like evil Tails, he betrayed Sonic at the end, and then Sonic gets kind of mad and he becomes Prime Sonic, where his eyes are just purple. I guess this is a new form. And just why did Knuckles the Dread have more screen time than Shadow? I know Sonic fans have begun to get mad over the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse allegations, but I got no better way to describe it. This show just feels like baby sensory content. There's also Dr. Babble.
They got Ryan Sonic from Ryan's Kids, Lego Sonic, Baby Sonic, Real Life Sonic, Visually Impaired Sonic, Anime Sonic, but even Homeless Sonic, straight from the streets.
Speaking of baby sensory content, we got these official chibi Sonic videos that are quite literally made for babies. I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's cute. You know, the little ones could also suffer being a Sonic fan, but no! Sonic and Friends makes me mad! You see here, Knuckles is dancing with a Christmas hat instead of protecting the Master Emerald! This is character assassination at its finest. Also, wait, let's dial that back. Sonic and Friends are celebrating Christmas? Are they Christians? That doesn't make any sense. Knuckles lives on a floating island in the middle of nowhere. Did the Echidnas leave behind the Holy Bible? Or where Sonic and his friends simply indoctrinating Knuckles into following their religion. They fill him with fear in his heart, telling him that if he doesn't repent for that time he helped Eggman, he's gonna be burning in the holy flames.
The IDW Sonic comics had another pretty solid year. The mainline books are continuing their story as usual, with the most notable thing from this year, in my opinion, being a pretty neat mini-arc that gives some attention to the game cast, like Blaze, Silver, Rouge, Omega, and it puts specific emphasis on a shadow that doesn't make me want to kill myself. Good job, guys! All that alongside some really slick action, especially in issues 59 and 61. All that makes this mini-arc a pretty great read in my opinion. I thought all the stuff with the IDW original characters this year was a little weaker than usual though. Now, I'm not one of those people who usually just does not like the original characters or anything. I just thought they weren't as enjoyable here as they usually are, especially compared to, again, what was happening with the game characters this year. A new villain was also introduced near the end of the year, but he hasn't really done much yet, so I can't really say much about him. Probably the biggest event happening in the book this year, besides the mainline story, was Sonic's 900th Adventure. Now, I actually had to look this up, but apparently it's not exclusively counting the IDW published stuff, like obviously not. It's counting all published English Sonic comics, which I definitely see counting up to 900 total issues. But I'm just imagining some kids who keeps up with the IDW comic picking up this issue and wondering how they missed like 800 issues. Anyways, this is a pretty solid little issue of Sonic trying to get rid of the Warp Topaz while meeting a bunch of his friends and enemies along the way. My favorite was the Blaze and Cream segment, honestly. I'm definitely not immune to nostalgia when it comes to the Sonic stuff I grew up with, and honestly the art for this portion is some of the best in the issue. The approach of the art in this one is honestly really cool. It basically swaps out the pencilers, colors, and inkers from the recurring IDW list to handle different character segments, which leads to some really striking segments. Special shout out to the colors for pages 7 to 12 and the penciling for pages 25 to 30, but the whole crew did a really great job at putting this massive issue together. We also got a few specials like normal, like the Amy anniversary issue and a few seasonal stuff. By the way, shout out to the artist of the winter issue for throwing in the Sonic X opening stage in this issue. I feel fucking insane that I noticed this the first time reading it, but it was a cool Easter egg either way. Anyways, all the Sonic comic releases this year have been fairly solid. A lot of fans are really critical of these comics, and while I do think it has valid issues, I'm glad this comic exists as a way to show kids a glimpse into this world outside of the games. And it also introduces a lot of them to some characters who don't really appear in the games anymore. Like, there's probably some kids out there who only know about stuff like Mecha Sonic and the Babylon Rogues because of these comics, and honestly, that's enough for me to enjoy them for what they are. Neat little Sonic adventures for fans of the series and for new fans.
No. It's now illegal.
It didn't come out.
Wait, sloths are real?
Yes, dumbass. What the fuck?
I thought they were from... Oh my god, look at this thing!
So I guess Sega figured we didn't get enough Sonic content this year and casually dropped Sonic Adventure 3. Okay, but seriously, they just randomly announced and dropped a full 3D Sonic game with fun, colorful environments, multiple playable characters, a gorgeous animated opening, and weirdly tight controls. This is just the game we've been asking for years! It's an Apple Arcade exclusive mobile game. Yeah, no, I don't got Apple Arcade. I wasn't able to play it for the video. Nobody I know has an iPhone to play it, so... You know what? You guys will write this segment. First guy to write a Sonic Dream Team review gets their comment pinned. Well, that was certainly a year in Sonic. Well, we certainly did get a lot of content. I can't really say that any of it blew me away. Sonic's on a good streak, like, nothing outright terrible has come out, but as of late, I've been feeling rather indifferent about the series. I seem to kinda be alone on this boat, and that's fine. I realize how picky I am. Everyone is just clamoring about how Sonic's back, and that's cool. But I suppose I'm personally just waiting for a game that's truly mind-blowing. Something on the level of Mania, Generations, Sonic R, just something that I can comfortably recommend and rank higher than a 7 out of 10. Like I said earlier, it seems like Sonic Team is genuinely trying to listen to fans. And I do have faith in the next 3D Sonic game. But I think if any of us can take anything from this year, it's that none of it matters because we still don't have High School Seiha Girl Season 2.
Have a taste of my burger dance. Burger, 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 burger,